9th, 2026. Noting the absence of Mayor Barnes and prior to roll call, I will request a motion to appoint a temporary chair for this meeting, along with the name of the individual you wish to collectively appoint.
I move to have Carol Zazada be acting mayor for today.
Second?
Who is the second?
Alderman Smith.
Yeah.
All those in favor
I don't know if we're working.
indicate
I
by
don't
saying
know.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. I will now call the roll.
Ruth, hold on a second. Okay, we got audio. We didn't have anything. We do now.
All right.
Test, yeah.
Very good. Zasada,
Here.
Larson,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Carlson,
Here.
Powell, Verbic,
Here.
Walker,
Here.
6 present. Alderman, you may proceed.
I'd like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I would like to approve the agenda. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
So, second.
Called by Smith, Alderman Smith, and seconded by Alderman Carlson. And on to roll call.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
6 aye.
Moving on to presentations, we have our America 250 Pause for Patriotism, and I would like to call our city manager to the podium to talk about Frederick Douglass and Black History Month.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me back there? Good.
Yeah.
And this was a problem the last two times. I guess I have to do this, something like this. Good evening, and just for the people in the audience and people looking in maybe for the first time, I just want to say that this is an effort on the part of the bicentennial, or it's not a bicentennial, it's a quincentennial, the Quinn bicentennial. What is it? Who can help me with that? Yeah, a lot of years. 250th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. And what our committee's been doing, what the country's doing, is trying to discern what meaning that document still has, and if all the principles that were articulated 250 years ago have been realized. If not, what has been done, and over these last 250 years, what's the trail been like? And so I volunteered once, and I'm stuck for now in this role. And I have to say I'm pleased that we're taking a little bit of time to talk about American history. It's not taught in a regular way in the schools. It's not taught in high schools anymore. We have some history moments. Sometimes you'll see on some, like the History Channel, sometimes on the regular networks. But on the whole, we're not challenged very much to think about our history. And history, as many of us learned it in grade school and junior high school and high school, was pretty boring stuff, right? One darn thing after another. A lot of dates, a lot of battles, and so forth. Well, there were a lot of all of those things in our history, just as there typically is in a national history. What's important to us, I think, and I think the council has bought into this, and most of the people who have been here and participating in this, is that history is more than all that. It's really a lot of stories of human beings. So we can relate to that because I think we all admit to being human beings, and we have struggles, and we have hopes and dreams, and they're not always realized. And why and how we get into positions that we do at the national level, state level, and local level, in terms of politics, in terms of social justice, and so forth. That is something that we can look back into history and have some, gather some meaning from. So today, we're looking just very briefly at Frederick Douglass. I don't know how many people know who Frederick Douglass is or was. It doesn't matter, I'm not going to embarrass you. But I do know that I didn't know who he was until I went to history grad school. And everybody that was in my American history, I was a teaching assistant, was in my American history class. It was the large lecture hall, had in the very first semester to read the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. And it was a moving thing for me at that point. I thought I'd kind of mastered the major rhythms of American history, not anywhere near it. And it opened my eyes to a lot of things. The life of a slave who escaped slavery, found his way, in this instance, to Massachusetts, which was a free state at the time. But as he found out, he was always subject to the terror of possibly being returned to slavery if under the law, persons who were out looking to catch escaped slaves would find him and ultimately his family. And what brought him into my essay for tonight, and I think into the heart of American history, is that he became on a national stage a compelling orator for changing the politics of the country away from avoiding the subject of slavery to addressing it, and ultimately there was a civil war to try to rid us of it. The impact of all that obviously continued into the 20th century and here into the 21st century. What galvanized him and pushed him away from speaking as a minister about this and how it was against the law of God to against what should be the law of the land was this fugitive slave law, which was passed in 1850 supposedly to end the debate over slavery for all time, and it didn't last. But the fugitive slave law gave persons who were looking, marshals oftentimes from the South, the power to come into a northern state and to remove somebody who they thought was a slave who would run away, who was a fugitive slave. He went further than that. He followed the organization of what was to come the Republican Party. It was formally organized in 1854. From 1856 on until he died in 1895, he was in some fashion or other either trying to help organize the original Republican Party, very different from what we know today, or to push it in a direction of equal rights, which is, after all, what the Declaration was about. And so he's a very interesting character, a courageous person who all the time, when he would get up at a dais like this, was subject to ridicule, violence, hatred, and he stood strong. He spoke what he thought, and he also wasn't afraid to get into the political process, even though the outcome was not going to be perfect, to try to move us toward those ideals that the Declaration stood for. So, and he's calling now. No, he's not calling. But anyway, this is just a story. And there's a lot more to it, and I hope you will look into this man's life. An outstanding person who I think we suitably honor on Black History Month. That's all I have to say.
Hey, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you're quite the historian, so I gotta put you on.
He's got, yeah, he's here's
Bill
where he
and I,
gets me.
We go back and forth with, his.
In 1853, did he?
No, I'm not gonna do that, but
Okay.
was he? It's more of a, maybe a statement, but question. Didn't he teach himself how to read and write? And he had to do it at, various times at night, because if his slave owner caught him, it wasn't good.
Excellent point, exactly. And I don't go into a lot of detail here. I try to suggest
Sure.
that what were his options? Well, he wasn't allowed to read in front of his master or anybody in that family, because it was pretty well understood. Teach a slave to read, they're going to wonder, why am I a slave? And they didn't want that. So, but he could listen. He got to play with some of the children of the master's family until he was about 6 or 7. then normally he would have been thrown into the field, but his mother was intermittently working in the house, so he worked in a house where he could overhear people talking. He got some exposure to syntax and words, and when he was then sent to Baltimore, again as a slave, but was sold, then he was exposed to the Bible. And he was actually taught to read the Bible for about a year or two, and then it was discovered this guy has a very avid memory and a sharp mind, and he's learning too much. You know, they start talking about the deliverance from Egypt and deliverance, you know, start thinking, well, maybe that means something to me here. And eventually he escaped, but he taught himself. And he had some friends that escaped with him, but, you know, it's just so remarkable that there wasn't a graduate school to teach him like I went to. And he wouldn't have been allowed to get into a school until he got to Boston. So he went from the Deep South to Maryland to Boston, and we've heard of the Underground Railroad, and he was partly spirited north to Boston because people hid him and fed him and got him to Boston.
Thank you, sir.
Good question. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. And he's going to move right into his next presentation,
Which is something not as fun.
which is the introduction of Matt Anderson, Water
Yes, it is
Resources
as fun.
Director.
So, sorry. Matt Anderson is in the back. Stand up, Matt. Let us introduce you. Matt Anderson is happily the person who's now running our Water Resources Department. He started a week ago. He comes with a raft of experience, and he has immense understanding and perspective of the material that and the subject matter that he is a director over. He comes to us from Sycamore, where he's Public Works Director. Since 2001, when he graduated from Iowa State, he's been involved in water resources. He was a lab supervisor for City of DeKalb in our water division. He gradually assumed increasing responsibility while he was here. He went on to the required certifications you need to be a water supply operator. He also received his Master of Arts in Leadership and Accounting from Aurora University at that time. He's with us now with a full plate of things to do. Among those, and he's jumped in right away, we have, as you know, a new shallow well. We're doing some testing on a potential well site on our northwest side. We're in the process of pretty close to going to bid on the construction of a new transmission water main in the southeast side. And then we have a well on County Farm Road, our well 11, which we had to pull the pump, and we're repairing that to get it back into operation. And so, welcome aboard, Matt. We're delighted to have you.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Appreciate it.
Next, we'll move on to public participation. And I have two people for public participation, unless anything has changed since those were submitted. And I will call them, starting with Amy Dahl. And as a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll watch the timer. Good evening. My name is Amy Dahl, and I live here in DeKalb. And I'm here to talk with you about an item that is not on the agenda tonight, although perhaps it's especially relevant as our new Water Resources Director was introduced this evening. I'm here to express my disappointment in the process by which the decision to approve the new data center was handled late last year. As I shared that evening, I didn't come to express support or objection to the proposed data center. I came to express my hope and desire for a process that honored the spirit of the processes of democracy. And in that, I was very disappointed. At that meeting, before public comment began, we were told that after everyone was given an opportunity to speak and ask their questions, that the city council members would be given an opportunity to ask questions of that developer, that had been expressed by the constituents. But instead, none of those questions were asked. While I do understand that there was some misinformation shared during those public comments, there were also some very valid questions asked and not answered by the developer because none of you asked them. The fact remains that data centers are increasing utility bills for consumers throughout the state and the nation, and we would like to know what safeguards have been put in place to make sure that that doesn't happen here. Data centers are also known to be massive water users with no transparency for the communities who depend on that water. What sort of reporting or transparency is being required of the data center being built here in our hometown? There is some proposed state legislation that establishes some nation-leading guardrails on data centers that will minimize data center impacts on our utility bills and water requiring responsible data investment. In the information that was presented in the packet prepared by the staff, we said that we wanted to lead the way to show other communities how to do that. So I would ask if the council and the staff would be willing to put some of those safeguards in place ahead of that state legislation and lead the way. I think we should be requiring safeguards on our energy cost and requiring transparent reporting on water usage. So I'm asking here this evening that all of you as a community, that all of us would lead on this and require the things of the data center being built here. I also need to add one more comment, and I know I only have 30 seconds left. Tonight on the agenda, there is also a resolution to authorize the purchase of 2 35-foot diesel transit buses. In the background information, I didn't find any information about why the vehicles are not the diesel-electric hybrid, and I would remind the council that there is a sustainability plan of 2024. So I hope we would ask the question about why we're not requiring them to be hybrid buses that are purchased. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Amy. Next, I'll call to the podium Sid Kincaid.
At a community meeting in University Village on November 15th, in response to a parent asking for an earlier curfew, Mayor Barnes stated that there are council members opposed to such things. He instead invited parents to raise their voice, speak at council meetings, and emphasized that we could do so much more if they did. In the last municipal election results, the precincts with the lowest turnout are the ones in the Annie Glen North neighborhood, which consist mostly of apartments. The precincts with the highest turnouts are almost exclusively single-family housing. The difference is not by small margins, but rather by an order of magnitude. The outcome of that election is that none of you sitting before me on council tonight are renters of your own home, and your lived experience is significantly different from those who do. Now, I'm not a parent, but merely someone who lives in the neighborhood and is aware of the numerous challenges it has. However, as an activist that focuses on government representation of the people, I will say that I have doubts about this council's ability to do so, and I am concerned for them. So I'm challenging each of you tonight to explain to me how it is that you are not making the politically convenient decision of allowing the voters who own their home to dictate which of the ordinances that benefit renters will get passed. How are you ensuring that tenants will have an equal say on matters of public safety? In short, what are you doing to ensure you represent and serve the interests of citizens who are renting their home in DeKalb? I'm also asking that you remain mindful of this challenge about representation when you have your consideration item about boards and commissions at the next council meeting.
Thank you, Sid. Okay, so no further public comment. All right, moving on to appointments. We have none. And then moving on to our consent agenda. Number 1, minutes. Okay, so I'm going to read this over, right? I'm going to read them all out. Sorry. Bear with me. Sorry, guys. Minutes of the Joint Review Board meeting of October 24th, 2025, meeting TIF 3. Minutes of the Joint Review Board meeting of October 24th, 2025, meeting TIF 4. Minutes of the regular City Council meeting of January 26th, 2026. Number 4, accounts payable and payroll through February 9th, 2026 in the amount of $2,500,032 $532,724.17. Number 5, investment and bank balance summary through December 2025. Number 6, year-to-date revenues and expenditures through December 2025. And number 7, crime-free housing bureau report, January 2026. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbeck, seconded by Alderman Powell. And roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Alderman Zasada,
Yes.
6 aye.
Next on the agenda,
Oh, my apologies, Alderman Larson.
Yes. You had enough already. You didn't need me.
next on the agenda, item H, public hearings, we have none. Item I, considerations, there are none. And item J, resolutions. Resolution 2026-17, authorizing an amendment to the professional services agreement with Stantec Architecture, Inc. for construction administration services related to the transit maintenance and operations facility in an amount not to exceed $550,000. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Powell. Is there any discussion? Oh, City Manager.
This is pretty straightforward, although we've got, as usual, a lot of nice charts and graphs and so forth. What this is there's authorization that's requested of you tonight for architectural and engineering design services. These are construction and design services with the opportunity that we have to spend some money that had been left over from the design part, and it should pretty much cover what that cost is. But we need to do this in order to align with the previous contracts and agreements we've had before you on the Stantec architectural initiative. And all the funding for this amendment, and as in the previous funding and the future funding for the construction of the transit center, will come entirely from IDOT and Federal Transit Administration capital grants. So it's a good opportunity.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
7 aye.
Okay, moving on to Resolution 2026-18, approving an agreement with Gillig LLC for the purchase of 2 diesel buses in an amount not to exceed $372,706. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Or second, whichever.
Take them.
Those two.
Okay, all right. Alderman Powell and Alderman Walker, first and second. City Manager.
Thank you. So in connection with the question that was asked on the floor tonight, in the budget process this year and in the last couple of years, we've looked at hybrids and we've looked at full electric buses, and it comes down to cost. So what you have here are 2 buses for roughly $686,000 apiece. We know it was over $1 million apiece for the hybrid, and then beyond that, if you went to pure electric, if you could get them, it was somewhere around $1.5 million. So we just haven't been in a position to move forward, and we have to continually look at our fleet and see what needs to be replaced. These are 2 vehicles that were asked for tonight, and the total is not to exceed $1,372,706.
Discussion. Alderman Walker?
So basically, City Manager, sir, I mean, when we do things like this, we always go for safety and the environment, but it always comes down to money.
It
So
does.
people understand.
It does. And sometimes, if we're talking about a different scale, not in the, hundreds of thousands, but in the tens of thousands maybe, sometimes we have opted, where it's within our financial capacity to make a different choice, but here, we just can't do that.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Alderman Larson?
Like I've said many times in the past, if we were sitting down playing a Sims game of building a city, and we could just make all the choices, absolutely, all electric, all this and that, but we have to stay within the confines of our budget, and people need public transportation that's reliable, and that's what we really have to. Back to some of the other comments about, well, you have your own car, so you don't need that. We often think about other people that don't have all of the benefits we have, and that means public transportation has to be available and reliable, any good weather, bad weather, whatever.
And to go with that, I've been pushing the transit manager since I've been on council the whole time for more electric buses and, more hybrid buses, and wondering what the deal is. And it really does, like everyone said, come down to dollars. It's, $600,000 for a diesel bus, and it's minimum $900,000 for a hybrid bus, and that's really what's stopping us. So the cost is just so huge. Okay.
Carolyn?
Oh, I apologize.
One thing to address.
And this is our transit manager.
Yes, sorry, Mike Miller, transit manager for the city. Just one thing to be aware, there's also, under the last administration, there was considerable push for hybrid and electrification. That picture is rapidly changing. It will be a challenge going forward. It is something that, as in division, we really would love to have all hybrids in here. That would be our choice. I would like to say that it's going to be a challenge going forward from a funding standpoint to sustain that, but we will do that as best as we can. So, thank you.
Can you remind me that we decided that we were going to buy, 6 buses this
Yeah,
year?
correct.
And how many of those were going to be hybrid?
It's going to be one. Initially,
One.
when we placed the order, the
Okay.
plan was to do 3 and 3, but cost escalations have been so dramatic that in order to get those 6, we
Yeah.
had to work within that to go to 1 to, so it's a challenge. It's a macroeconomic issue that we're in the middle of right now. So anyway, sorry.
Right. Thank you so much for those details. Okay. Discussion done? Anybody else? Okay. Roll call, please.
Howell,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes?
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Sasada,
Yes.
7-0.
Okay. Resolution 2026-19, approving the purchase of one 2026 Ford F-250 XL Crew Cab pickup truck from Brad Manning Ford in an amount not to exceed $55,535.63. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbeek, seconded by Alderman Larson. City Manager.
Thank you. In our 400 fund this year, in the 2026 budget, we have some money for both the police department and also for the street department. And in this case, the vehicle that is before you tonight was offered by Brad Manning Ford for the amount that was just read. This compares well with the state price, the state bid price, which, as you know, for everything from vehicles to rubber bands, provides a target, the lowest, typically the lowest price for a large quantity of a certain kind of commodity. And in this case, Brad Manning Ford was able to beat that a little bit, and so we recommend it's the same quality vehicle and same specifications. We recommend we go with the local dealer, which is less than what we would pay by a few $100 than the state bid.
Discussion? Alderman Larson?
I just have a question for Andy Rye. So with this one and the next one on the agenda, are you being able to see that you're getting the fleet closer to within its actual age that it should be still alive?
Every step is a step in the right direction.
Okay.
We're becoming solvent, I would call it, and we're staying above water with every purchase.
Okay. We'll get there someday.
We will.
Thanks, Andy. Anyone else? Okay. Roll call.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Sisata,
Yes.
7-I.
Okay, Resolution 2026-021, approving the purchase of a 2026 Skymark 5,000-gallon Jet A refueler for the DeKalb Taylor Municipal. Oh, did I skip?
We skipped one.
Oh, thank you. My bad. Oh, wait a second.
Number 4.
Okay.
They look alike.
Oh, yes, they do look like, yeah, okay. Resolution 2026-20, approving the purchase of one 2026 Ford Explorer from Brad Manning Ford in an amount not to exceed $38,955.63. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Carlson. City Manager.
Thank you. We requested bids again for this particular vehicle. Morrow Brothers Ford, they've heard the name before, is a state contract holder right now, and they came in with a price that actually was about $590.63 lower than the Brad Manning price. However, the Brad Manning price was for a vehicle that actually met our specifications in all respects. And one way that the Morrow Brothers bid did not was in terms of our fleet colors. So repainting the truck would have cost more than that, so we feel we're saving a few bucks and once again, working with a local vendor.
Very good. Discussion? Roll call.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Sisata,
Yes.
7-I.
Resolution 2026-21, approving the purchase of a 2026 Skymark 5,000-gallon Jet A refueler for the DeKalb Taylor Municipal Airport in an amount not to exceed $302,650. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbic, seconded by Alderman Larson. City Manager.
So currently, some of you have been out there to the airport to see on occasion our refueler. It's a 1992 Ford. It's very tired. You can't, it doesn't have today's required safety features. It's a real challenge to find replacement parts for it. And so for a while, we've been looking for some support from state or federal level to help with the purchase of these, of a vehicle replacement. And these are not cheap, as you can see. What I want to direct your attention to is where I mentioned what the funding level or what the funding source is, and it's the airport fund. And I have to say, this resonates very clearly with Andy and with me in particular. It's for the first time in maybe 20 years we've been able to buy a major vehicle out of the airport budget. The airport budget is solvent, has been for the last, this is 3 years in a row now. We've been in the black, and we have enough to put a couple $100,000, more than that, $302,000 into this refueler. It's something to mark, and I just want to make a point of that. I thank Andy in particular, has Ben here tonight? There he is.
Mm-hmm.
Andy and Ben are a great team. They've been, Ben is our airport manager, and they've been driving revenue in a modest way. Our T-hanger users pay a very competitive rent. We're certainly not milking them in any way, but we're selling a lot of fuel, and that has something to do with the price. It also has something to do with the hospitality that we show people who come in, and they could go other places to fuel up or to land and take a break. So I'm very pleased with what's happened at the airport in recent years, and this shows.
Discussion. Roll call.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
7-0.
Resolution 2026-22, approving an agreement with Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick Engineering for National Bridge Inspection Standard inspections in an amount not to exceed $35,000. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Carlson, seconded by Alderman Larson. City Manager.
Our new city engineer, John Laskowski, brought to my attention that the National Bridge Inspection Standards require every 2 to 4 years, depending on the type of bridge, the size and so forth, an inspection. So this allocation would be for the bridges that are identified, the 10 that are identified in your background. Some of these are smaller. We don't consider them bridges. Other ones are bridges over the Kish. So we are doing what we're required to do. The base contract with HLR is $29,920. There's a not-to-exceed limit of $35,000, which probably, if there was a difference that we had to go up to that amount, is because maybe there's a review of our first submittal, and we have to do a little more inspection of this, that, or the other thing. These standards are readable, obviously, and we can read them beforehand, as can HLR, but sometimes there are interpretations at the state level that need to be met.
Very good. Discussion? Roll call.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
7-0.
All right. Resolution 2026-23, appropriating $35,000 through a supplemental motor fuel tax resolution to fund engineering services for the maintenance of various streets and highways in accordance with the Illinois Highway Code, Section 26-0000, more zeros, GM, for the period of January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. Can I get a motion, and will that suffice? Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Larson.
So the action you just took added a little bit more to that resolution that we have to pass every year with what we think is the precise amount of money pertaining to our motor fuel tax uses, and that's all it is. So the two are companions, and I probably should have mentioned we could take them in omnibus, but we've done it this way. So recommend your approval.
Very good. Discussion? Roll call.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
7-0.
Resolution 2026-24, authorizing agreements for aviation and storage tank liability insurance coverage with Crum Halstead / One Digital covering the period January 1st, 2026 through January 1st, 2027 in the amount of $35,811. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbic, seconded by Alderman Walker. City Manager.
Thank you. These are pretty modest. Wish our health insurance was in these ranges, but that's not the case. But they are important and necessary, and they break down. Most 2/3 of it is for aviation coverage, obviously a little higher risk factor, and then storage tank liability, about $8,000. Recommend your approval.
Discussion? Roll call.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Zasada,
Yes.
7-0.
Next on the agenda, we have item K for ordinances for second reading. We have none. Item L, ordinances for first reading. Item 1, ordinance 2026-002, approving the rezoning and special use permit for the property located at 315 North 6th Street to accommodate a private therapeutic day school, Specialized Education of Illinois, Inc. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Powell. City Manager.
Thank you. Lindsay Sanchez and Teresa Smith are here in the audience tonight and are available to answer any questions if I found her here. This is somewhat familiar to you. The council had this on your agenda back on January 12th, and it was determined it was prudent to allow some further discussion at the staff level on various safety and security measures. And toward that end, Alderman Tracy Smith met with our Assistant City Manager Bob Riddell, Planning Director Dan Olson, and representatives of the school to talk about the prevention and intervention in the event of any mishaps that might lead to police or fire calls. The outcome of that, I think, constructive conversation was that what's on the agenda for you tonight, the special use permit, is reasonable, that steps are going to be in place to make sure that there are internal rules and codes of conduct that will align with our own expectations of schools of this size. Otherwise, what the Plan Commission looked at back in mid-December hasn't changed in terms of the layout. The existing building would include classrooms and offices and therapy rooms and so forth. There would be a redesign to expand the north parking lot to take in a few more vehicles for staff. There's also a agreement that's been reached for an additional 40 spaces, or excuse me, 50 in a leased lot to the south, slightly southwest off of Oak Street. And at this point, we ask you to support the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation to you, which is 4-0 in favor of this proposal. And I'll defer to Alderman Smith if you want to add.
Alderman Smith?
Thank you both. It was a very positive meeting. Thank you for all of you. I can't remember how many we had on the meeting that day, but we talked a lot. Bob was there, and so was Dan. And I think, you know, I was just concerned about history, but they've assured me, and actually doing a little research on their school, very positive results came out of that meeting. One thing I think it's important is they've agreed to meet with PD and fire department, just so they understand how they operate, and I think that's fair, and so no one's get caught off guard. But really, I was very pleasantly surprised at how well the school is going to be run and the history of it. So thank you, Lindsay, very much for facilitating both of you guys. Thank you.
Go ahead, Alderman Walker.
I just got a question. Maybe you can answer it, Mr. Smith. Well, I mean, you were at the meeting. I just want to make sure you were there. No, I got a question. Cause what did you got? Yeah, it was an easy one. So what's a special therapeutic school? Or
Teresa, would you like to come up? So Teresa's going to be the one overseeing the school. She'll be able to explain.
first of all, was he really there?
He was really there. He really was. Yes.
Thank you.
So a therapeutic day school is to help children that need a little bit more.
Yes,
So we have an array of therapies in the school to help children. We have music therapy, art therapy, play therapy, pet therapy, in addition to what you would traditionally see in a school setting.
Okay.
So it provides a little bit extra.
Hey, well, you know what? I commend that a lot. My wife's a teacher, so I kind of know the struggles with some of these kids, and I think
Yes.
that's a very, you know, I don't want to get emotional. I have a tendency to do that when people do good things for people, and I think that's pretty, you know,
Well,
good of you
thank
guys
you.
to do that. Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Yep.
Any further discussion? And it looks like they are requesting a waiver of second reading. So do I have to do the first one first? Okay.
First and then second.
All right. Roll call.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Sisata,
Yes.
7-I.
I waive the right for a second, whatever.
I think that was a motion for.
A motion
To waive.
To waive
Move
second
it on, a
reading.
motion to just get to it.
I'll take a motion to waive second reading.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so
Second.
moved by Alderman Walker and seconded by Alderman Carlson. Oh, roll call.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Sisata,
Yes.
7-I.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, guys. Yes, thank you so much for coming to the city, and thank you for what you're going to do for all these amazing students. We really appreciate you being here. Okay, moving on to number 2 under ordinances, ordinance 2026-007, amending chapter 23 Unified Development Ordinance, Article 13, signs, to amend the sign regulations for non-residential uses in the MFR1 and MFR2 multifamily residential districts, and to allow electronic changeable copy signs for wall signs and projecting signs in the CBD Central Business District. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Carlson. City Manager.
The title you read describes a lot of what the details are about. There are 2 categories of sign regulation changes, pretty modest, but important for several reasons. One is that we've had in non-residential zoned areas some discussion about signage, and we wanted to update the UDO. And another thing which I think is very exciting, the Stagecoach Players have come forward with some new signage for their building, and the most spectacular part of it is a marquee, just sharp. It's I think there's a color version of it in your deep background for tonight's meeting. That's in the Central Business District, and it is not on Lincoln Highway, so it does not run afoul of that prohibition on Lincoln Highway of changeable copy signs and so forth. So the rest of the background for you tonight is detailed toward those ends. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on these types of changes back last week, just a week ago, voted unanimously to recommend your approval, and we support the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation.
Discussion. All right, roll call.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Sisata,
Yes.
7-I.
All right, moving on to,
Second reading?
I will take a motion to waive second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Larson, seconded by Alderman Smith. Okay, moving on to ordinance 20,
Gotta vote.
oh, I'm so sorry. Roll call.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Sisata,
Yes.
7-I.
Okay, now we're going to move on to ordinance 2026 -008, amending the City of DeKalb Municipal Code by adding a new Chapter 68 Games of Chance - Raffles and Poker Runs. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbic, seconded by Alderman Walker. City Manager.
Thank you. Over a dozen years ago, the city of DeKalb entered an IGA with DeKalb County to transfer our licensing for raffles and poker runs, as they're called, to the county clerk's office. At that time, they were infrequent, handful a year. County clerk was happy to do it. They were doing some for unincorporated areas. It just happens that in recent years, this is almost a weekly occurrence as not-for-profits are looking to enhance some of their revenue. And back in the middle of October, County Clerk Tasha Sims approached Ruth Scott and me to ask if we would assume the responsibility for DeKalb's share of that increasing volume. And we looked at it internally and determined that within certain parameters, we could afford to do that in terms of time and also in terms of cost. So there are two things before you tonight. Under these proposed revisions, we would take back those raffle and poker run licenses for review in the city manager's office. And some very modest fees would be attached to the licenses themselves, and those are identified in your background. Recommend
Discussion.
your approval.
Discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Carlson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Casada,
Yes.
7-0.
Would you like us to waive second reading?
Yes.
Okay. I will.
Please.
Waive second reading and approve.
Very-
Second.
Motion to waive second reading by Alderman Verbeck, seconded by Alderman Smith. Roll call, please.
Powell,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Casada,
Yes.
7-0.
Very good. All right, moving on to Section M, Reports and Communication. Alderman Larson, would you start us off?
No report.
Alderman Smith?
One thing I just noted today, and Chief, thank you for you and your staff over the weekend. Looks like 2 seatbelt citations and 23 other citations for various speeding, et cetera. So thank you to you and your staff and Commander Kwaszewski. So I really appreciate it because I think on all of our minds there's been a lot of issues with traffic complaints. So we really appreciate it, or at least I do. Thank you, sir.
Alderman Carlson?
Nothing I will say, though, that I thought the Super Bowl was awful. And the only reason I say that was the Bears weren't in it. I think every Super Bowl is awful. Other than that, I don't have a report. It's been too cold.
Alderman Powell?
I had a chance to attend the DeKalb Chamber annual dinner, great event. DeKalb Mechanical won Business of the Year. Congrats to them. Other than that, nothing else.
Alderman, oh gosh, now I'm all, Alderman Verbeck.
Super Sundays continue at the Glidden Homestead. Those are coming up on February 22nd, March 8th, and March 22nd, where there's always a fascinating guest guest lecture, I guess I would call it. Also, Ward 6 businesses are anticipating the return of the Illinois Cheer Association on Sunday, February 22nd, which is a great day for our Ward 6 businesses. And happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Alderman Walker?
Yeah, I kind of want to elaborate with something that was said in the audience today, far as issues with tenants and landlords and those types of issues. First of all, it's up to every tenant to reach out to their alderperson if they have an issue with the landlord. Just because we don't come up here talking about everything that we do all the time for people, it doesn't necessarily mean we don't do anything. So I kind of took offense to that because I've been on the front lines even before I was an alderperson helping out people with this type of issue. And number two, far as, housing, the issues, well, there's a lot of moving pieces now, far as protecting landlords and tenants. And I think the city manager can attest to this. I think we do a pretty good job with DARA, to make sure, those types of things that happen around in the nation and other places that they don't happen here. I would say Glenn Roby and Will Hines do a phenomenal job with not only protecting landlords, but protecting tenants. In fact, when I was on the Human Relations Commission, Will Hines was part of, rewriting Chapter 10, and what Chapter 10 is, basically, it's just an agreement to help out the landlord and the tenant. So it's like this. If you have a problem, it's up to a tenant to reach out to the alder person, and it's up, for the alder person to put them in the right position. Now, we can bring a horse to water, but we can't make them drink it. There's been, numerous people that I went through many stages with, and they just don't go ahead and knock it out at the end. They give up, they stop doing it. We can't help that. All we can do is get you there. We can't push you through the door. We're just older people. I mean, like I was told when I took this seat, we're here to, create policies. That's it. We can't make you do things. We can't tell a landlord what they can and what they cannot do. We just simply can't do that. I think we have a pretty good crime-free housing with Bob Rydell, Assistant City Manager Bob Rydell, and this man's phenomenal with putting people in their place and making sure everybody's treated fairly. So I just wanted to get that out there. It's up to us, but it's up for you guys to reach out to us so we can do our jobs. You can't just assume that we're reading the newspaper or we're listening to the radio and we're hearing all this. I mean, that just isn't how it goes. So I just wanted to get that out there. Sorry, Barb, I know I was talking a lot on that one.
Thank you, Alderman
I
Walker.
know you don't like that. I know you don't like that. So I just,
I will add a little bit to that just by saying that, I understand that you perhaps weren't thrilled with the mayor's response regarding earlier curfew for people. I'm guessing we're talking teenagers, right? And some of the challenge there, as far as like from a policy background, the challenge of doing stuff like that is that you're kind of setting it up. If we were to make the curfew earlier, we're setting up a situation where we're going to penalize, high school students for being out too late, right? And so there's a lot of risk involved with doing that. We don't necessarily want to be penalizing students for staying out later. So, there's a hard implementation factor going on there, and sometimes policies that we think might solve things don't necessarily do that. For my report for Ward 1, we did have a fire that ended in a fatality this past weekend, and I was very sorry to hear that. Just, check on your neighbors, try to make sure people are safe. So that's all I've got to say. City Manager, do you have a report?
Just one very brief comment. We are the beneficiaries tonight of the presence of Michelle Anderson. I'd like her to stand up if she's here. Michelle tonight is celebrating, or today, her 28th anniversary of employment with the city of DeKalb.
wow.
She could have been celebrating at home. But here she is, and her dedication is legendary, and we thank her for all her work.
Absolutely, yes, we echo that. Thanks for keeping us on track all the time. All right, and executive session, we have none, and I will take a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
And voice vote. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Say aye. Nay, same sign. Okay, we are adjourned.